Welcome to Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives, with your host, Singh. This is where leadership meets purpose, presence, and passion. In today's fast paced, high pressure world, we face a leadership crisis. Too often, teams are led by managers who lack empathy, clarity, and vision, leaving individuals uninspired, disconnected, and undervalued. But it doesn't have to be this way. Great leadership isn't born, it's built. The end game: empower your leadership, inspire the world. Every week, join me, your host Singh, as we tackle the gaps in leadership and life coaching head on, learning how mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and compassion can redefine success. This isn't just another podcast, it's a mission to fill the void left by ineffective leadership. And it's not just about leadership in business. Life coaching for leaders and new executives is at heart of this journey. Ready to rise above the noise and lead with clarity, purpose, and impact? Join a global movement dedicated to reshaping the future of leadership one mindful moment at a time. Let's begin.
Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Leadership Podcast on the Transformation Network, the podcast where we turn strategy from stress, clarity from overthinking, and we bring momentum from overwhelm. I'm your host Singh, the leadership coach who knows that growth does not happen through burnout. It happens through alignment. All right. Let's talk about a very different vibe today. You know, vibe. It's Tuesday, the day that feels like it should be Friday, but somehow still smells like Monday. You are staring at an overflowing inbox, sipping a third cup of coffee, which, let's be honest, is basically cold bean water at this point because reheating feels like a luxury. Slack is lighting up like Vegas slot machine, and then boom, there it is, the email. Subject like important change in strategy. You open it, and suddenly it is like you're staring in a corporate thriller. Words like pivot, restructure, temporary adjustments are flying off the screen like dodgeball in gym class. And just as you're trying to process what this means for your team, someone on Slack says, "Hey, does anyone know why the printer is not working?" And you're sitting there thinking, the printer? Really, we are trying to survive an organizational existential crisis, and you're worried about the printer? In that moment, right there, that you realize this is your life now, leading through chaos, managing the unmanageable, trying to keep your team motivated while secretly Googling how to build resilience without shopping in a supply closet. Sounds familiar? Now, here's the thing about change: it does not care if you are ready. Let that sink a bit. It does not wait. Change does not wait for a convenient moment to knock politely on your door. No, change shows up unannounced. Like your neighbor who's always borrowing your stuff but never gives it back. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, and it is relentless. But here's the good news, because yes, there is a good news. Growth is possible even in chaos. In fact, some of the best leaders I have worked with did not just survive turbulence, they thrived in it. They did not just fight the storm, they learned to harness it. And today, I'm going to show you how to do the same. Because here's the truth: growth during change is not about having all the answers, it's about asking the right questions. It's about staying grounded, leading with intention, and figuring out how to take the next right step, even when everything around you feels like it is on fire. Let me hit you with this right out the gate. Change is not the enemy, stagnation is. Too often, when chaos hits, we treat it like a burglar breaking into our lives. We panic, we resist, we look for exits, and we don't find exits. But here's an uncomfortable truth: chaos is not here to rob you, it is here to reveal you. Think about it. The companies, teams, and leaders who crumble during turbulence, they don't fail because things got hard. They fail because they clung to what was instead of leaning into what could be. right? Again, let's be clear, change is messy, it is uncomfortable. It is like trying to assemble IKEA furniture without the instructions. You have got all the pieces, none of them are labeled. And the little carton guy in the manual is smirking at you. And you're just sitting there praying no one notices the two extra screws. But here is what you need to understand: chaos is not here to break you, it is here to wake you up. Because chaos, it does not create problems, it reveals them. It shows you cracks in your systems, the weak links in your team, the parts of your strategy that were never as solid as you thought. Chaos is a mirror, and mirrors do not lie. Let me give you an example. Remember earlier this year when half the country was freaking out over AI tools like GPT? Suddenly, every leader was scrambling. What does this mean for my industry, my team, my job? Some people panicked, froze, and spent weeks doom scrolling articles with headlines like, "Will AI replace you by lunchtime?" But the best leaders, they did not waste time fighting the wave. They learned how to surf it. They got curious, they leaned in, and they asked, how can we use this to improve? How can we use this to innovate? And how can we use this to grow? And that is a choice every leader faces when chaos hits. You can either resist it, waste your energy trying to hold on the past, or you can lean in, get curious, and use it as a fuel for growth. So here's my question for you. The next time chaos shows up, because let's be honest, it's probably already knocking, what are you going to do? Are you going to fight the storm, or are you going to grab the wheel and figure out how to navigate it? All right, let me take you into a room for a second. Ponder this. I'm sitting with this leadership team at their quarterly strategy session. Their vision statement is glowing on the wall in bold corporate font: sustained growth through innovation. And I'm thinking, okay, solid. That is the kind of phrase you would see on a LinkedIn banner under a post that says hashtag Monday motivation, right? But here's the problem. When we started digging into their decision making, you know what we found? They were not innovating, not even a little. Every single move they were making was about minimizing risk, playing it safe, keeping things predictable. They were so focused on protecting the ship, they forgot the whole point of the ship was to actually go somewhere else. So I did what any good coach does in a moment like this. I asked a question that made everyone in the room just a little uncomfortable. And I said, guys, what decision this week moves the vision forward? That is it, one question. And you know what happened? First, silence, awkward, heavy. Let me check my phone silence. Then one of the leaders who had been pretty quiet all day leans forward and says, honestly, I don't think we have made a single decision in the past month that actually moves us closer to innovation. And that right there, that was the breakthrough moment for that entire team. Because here's the thing, most leaders don't lack vision, they lack decision level alignment. Right? Let me break that down for you. It is not that these leaders did not know what they wanted. They had the big picture. The problem was their day-to-day decisions were not connected to that picture. They were optimizing for safety, not momentum. And let's be real, guys. This isn't just a corporate problem. This is a life problem. How many of us have big, bold goals in this first third week of New Year? Whether it is getting healthier, building stronger relationships, or finally launching that side hustle. But then we spend all our time making decisions that keep us in the same freaking place. And here's the kicker: growth does not come from sweeping dramatic changes. It does not come from ripping up your strategy and starting over. Growth comes from small, intentional decisions that align with your vision, one choice at a time. Right? Take another practical example of how this works. Think about Netflix, right? You know, the company that went from mailing DVDs to dominating streaming and now producing Oscar winning films. Do you think they got there by playing it safe? No. They asked themselves one critical question over and over and over again: what is next? In 2007, when streaming was still this weird, futuristic idea, they didn't say, well, let's wait and see what Blockbuster does. No, they made intentional decision to pivot despite the risk. And yes, it was messy, it was expensive, but it aligned with their vision of being a leader in entertainment. Now, fast forward that to today. Netflix is not just a streaming company, they are a global entertainment powerhouse. The point is this: they did not wait for the perfect moment. They did not cling to what was comfortable. They made small, intentional decisions one after another that aligned with their long term vision. And that is exactly what I want you to do. So here's your takeaway. The next time you are faced with a decision, even a small one, ask yourself, does this move the vision forward? Because here's the truth: leadership is not about knowing all the answers, it's about asking the right questions. It's about choosing momentum over comfort, alignment over autopilot, and one decision at a time. That's how you build innovation. That's how you create growth. And that is how you lead a team or a life that does not just survive the chaos, but thrives in it. All right, let's get into it. Resilience, the buzzword of all buzzwords. Everyone from your boss to your yoga instructor to that one friend who swears by cold plunges keeps throwing it around like it is a magic solution to everything. But let's be real for a second. Resilience is not about being some unshakable, untouchable force. Let that sink. It is not about standing there with a smile while the metaphorical house is on fire, pretending everything is fine. No, real resilience, it is about learning how to bend without breaking. Real resilience, it's about learning how to bend without breaking. Think about bamboo. When the wind comes, bamboo doesn't resist, it doesn't stiffen up and try to fight the storm. It sways, it adapts, and because of that, it survives storms that would snap other trees in half. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, saying, great, I'm supposed to be bamboo. What does it even mean? Don't worry. I'm not about to tell you to go out and start swaying in parking lot like a human tree. But I will tell you this. If growth is the goal, resilience is the engine that gets you there. I'll repeat that. If growth is the goal, resilience is the engine that gets you there. So, how do you build that kind of resilience for yourself, for your team, for your life? Let me break it down. I got a three-step formula for you. It's practical, it's simple, and it works. Step one, check your state, right? When chaos hits, and let's be honest, it's not an if, but when. The very first thing you need to do is pause and check your state. And here's why. When we are in crisis mode, our brain go full caveman on us. Fight, flight, freeze. And let's not forget the unofficial fourth one, freak. You can't make good decisions when you're spinning out like that. So when the storm hits, here is what I want you to do. Take one slow breath in through your nose and one slow breath out through your mouth. Then ask yourself this: am I reacting or am I responding? Because reacting, that is instinct, but responding, that is leadership. Step two, anchor to the vision. All right, now that you're not in full on panic mode, here is step two. This is where most people, and honestly, most leaders go wrong. When chaos shows up, they start making decisions based on comfort, not clarity. They ask what's going to feel easiest right now instead of what does our vision actually need right now. Let me give you an example. Imagine you are a captain of a ship. A storm hits, the waves are huge, the wind is insane, and you have two choices. You can either drop anchor to steady yourself and focus on where you're going, or you can start throwing stuff overboard to fix the chaos. And guess what most people do? They panic. They start chucking things overboard, team morale overboard, long term strategy overboard. And because before you know it, the ship isn't even moving anymore because you have traded progress for comfort. But the best leaders, they drop the anchor. They focus on the vision. They ask, what does this moment require? Not for me to feel better, but for us to move forward. And finally, step three, progress, not perfection. This one is game changer, especially for all my overachievers out there who think every decision has to be flawless. It does not. Perfection is a trap. Perfection keeps you stuck. Instead, ask yourself this: what is the one decision or action that matters most today? Not 10 things, not even three, just one. Because the truth is, you do not need clarity for the next year. You just need clarity for the next right move right now. So here is the big picture. Resilience is not about being bulletproof. It is not about pretending you don't feel the storm. It is about learning how to navigate it. Check your state, action, anchor to the vision, and focus on progress, not perfection. And next time chaos hits, and let's be honest, it probably already is. I want you to remember this. You don't have to solve everything. You just have to stay in motion. One small move at a time. That is how you bend without breaking. That is how you lead through the storm. And that is how you grow, not in spite of chaos, but because of it. All right, let's change the scene for a second, right? Chaos hits. You are at your desk, halfway through your second coffee, not because you're done with the first, but because you forgot where you left it. Slack is pinging like it's auditioning for a Vegas casino floor. Someone's asking about a deadline that was due yesterday. And then out of nowhere, your boss sends a message that starts with, "Can we talk?" And that is it. That's the moment. Your brain is officially in meltdown mode: fight, flight, freeze. I feel like me, all three at once. You're mentally drafting resignation letters, Googling how to live off the grid, and panic eating trail mix like it's your last meal. Chaos does not ask for permission, it does not knock politely, it just barges in, kicks over your plans, and says, "Good luck." And when it does, your first instinct is to react. But here's the thing: reacting in chaos is like trying to fight a fire with a bottle of sparkling water. It's messy, ineffective, and honestly, a little embarrassing. What you need is a plan, a framework, something simple, actionable, and most importantly, calming. This is what you're going to use the next time chaos hits: the calm pivot. It is simple, it is powerful, and it works real time. So let's break it down. The first thing you do before you send that email, before you fire off that Slack message in all caps in check is check your state, right? Why? When chaos hits, your brain goes straight into survival mode: fight, flight, freeze, and freak out. The triple F threat, right? And it is that state you're not making smart decisions. You're making decisions based on fear, adrenaline, and the vague hope that no one notices you're sweating through your shirt. So here is what I want you to do: pause, take one slow breath in through your nose, then out through your mouth. Just one. And then ask yourself, am I reacting or am I responding? Reacting is instinct, responding is leadership. And you cannot lead not yourself, not your team if you are spinning out. Step two of calm, A, anchoring to the vision. All right. Now that you are not in full on panic mode, and here's the second step. This is where most people go wrong. When chaos shows up, they start making decisions based on comfort, not clarity. They're like, what is going to make me feel better right now? Instead of asking, what does our vision need right now? Imagine you're steering a ship, a storm rolls in, the waves are huge, the wind is insane, and everything in you wants to just hunker down and stop moving. But here's the thing: if you stop steering, you don't avoid the storm, you just get tossed around. The best leaders, they drop the anchor, they focus on the vision. They ask, where are we trying to go and what's the next move that gets us closer? Comfort is only a short term fix, vision is a long term win. Now, here's where things get practical. Step three: limit the focus. When chaos hits, it's tempting to try to fix everything all at once, right? You make start making to-do lists that looks like CVS receipts, long, overwhelming, and full of stuff you don't actually need. But here's the thing: you don't need to fix everything right now. Just need to fix one thing. So ask yourself, what is the one decision or action that matters most today? Not 10 things, not even three, just one. Because when you focus on the right move, you take the first step out of chaos and into momentum. And momentum, that is where the magic happens. And finally, step four: move with intention. You have checked your state, you anchored the vision, you have limited the focus. Now it's time to act. But not just any action, intentional action, right? This means doing things that is visible, tangible, something that says we are not stuck, we are moving. And here's the best part: it does not have to be perfect. In fact, it won't be, but progress beats perfection every single time. So the next time chaos hits, and let's be real, it probably will, I want you to remember this: calm, C-A-L-M, right? Check your state, anchor to vision, limit the focus, and move with intention. This is not about solving every problem at once, right? This is about creating alignment in the momentum, because when you lead with intention, even in the storm, you create momentum. And here's the truth: you don't need clarity for next year, you just need clarity for the next right move. One move at a time, firebrands. That's how you lead through chaos. That's how you grow in it. And that's how you thrive because of it. All right, let's land this plane. You have made it through the chaos, the insights, the frameworks, and now it's time to take that energy and turn it into action. Because let's be real, listening to this podcast is the easy part. It is like buying a gym membership. You feel good about it for 5 minutes, but nothing really changes until you start showing up and start lifting the weights. So here's a challenge: the part where you stop nodding and start moving. I want to take a hard look at your strategy this week, not next quarter, not next year, this week. Find one spot, just one, that could benefit from a more adaptive approach. Maybe it is that project that has been stuck in neutral because no one wants to move through a tough call. Maybe it is a conversation you have been avoiding because let's face it is easier to dodge than to deal. Or maybe it is just the way you have been showing up, reacting instead of responding. Running on autopilot is not leading with intention. Good. Now, here's where the magic happens. I want you to use a calm pivot. Check your state. Ask yourself, am I reacting or am I responding? Take a breath, slow it down. You can't lead from chaos. Anchor to the vision. Ask, what does our vision require right now? Not my comfort. This is not about what is easy, it's about what moves the needle. Limit the focus and ask, what's the one decision or action that matters most today? Not 10 things, not three, just one. And then move with intention. Take one visible action in the next 24 hours, not next week, not when timing feels right. Tomorrow is too late. Momentum loves speed. And here's the thing, chaos does not have to be your enemy, it does not have to derail you. It can transform you if you let it. Because the truth is, leadership is not about having all the answers, it's about making the next move right, even when everything feels messy. It's about stepping into the storm and saying, all right, let's figure this out. So, what's your next right move? What's one thing you can do today, right now, that creates alignment in the middle of chaos? Do that and then watch what happens. So, one thing consistently we have been sharing for mindful practice is three simple things. You have to come out of amygdala, your fight, flight, and freeze mode, into your prefrontal cortex, which is very simple. Take a couple of deep breath. The moment you do that, you activate your prefrontal cortex, you get in the present, and then you get to make the right rational decision. And once you make that rational decision, make one small intentional step. All right. Thank you for joining me on the episode of Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives on the Transformation Radio. I am Singh, and I'll see you next time. Until then, take the breath and ask the questions. This is your moment. This is your moment. Take it. You've got this. Have a blessed week.
Thank you for watching Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives. With me, your host, Singh. We are honored to have you join us on this journey to explore the transformative power of mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and authentic leadership. Tune in every week on transformationtalkradio.com at noon Pacific on Tuesdays, where we will continue to explore how mindful leadership can create a ripple effect of positive changes in your life and lives of those you influence. This show is dedicated to helping you lead with purpose, presence, and passion.